Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. So I'm gonna give people a few minutes to come on into the room, and hopefully everybody is doing well and having a good Tuesday. Hey LaCabra, I'm giving I'm giving everybody just a few minutes to come in and time for the notifications to come out. So if you're here, definitely let me know that you're here. And I'm actually on time this Tuesday, which a lot of people might be shocked about because I'm usually not. But nonetheless, gonna let the notification go out. And actually on this particular topic, it's like it's kind of like I'm a few days late, but with this topic, it's forever relevant, and I definitely wanted to talk about this at some point or whatever. Hey, Duck Banks. Hey, y'all. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Just giving a notification a few minutes to go out while y'all come in the room. Hopefully, everybody is doing good. Hey, Edward. And if you're here, make sure you let me know you're here. If this is your first time in my live, definitely make sure you let me know that you're here and let me know where you're from. And like I was saying, this whole Bernie thing, it was in a news cycle like a couple of days ago. But I think this topic is really relevant, and I've been wanting to kind of just talk about this on my channel for a while. So I figure it will be relevant, and you will see more of this definitely going into 2020 or whatever. So we're just gonna talk about this just a little bit. All right, well, you're here early today, Duck Banks, so welcome. Glad you're able to make it, and hopefully, I don't know, I don't plan to be in here that long, but y'all know sometimes when I get started, I just be, I be gone. Hey, Muxie Diva, thank you. She said I'm glowing. Well, thanks. Hey, Truth Seeker, how are you? Hey, y'all. Hola. But all right, y'all. So hopefully everybody is doing well. I know people are gonna slowly come into the room because yes, Muxie Diva. Yes. She said I'm a simple girl. I see you streaming. I click. Yes, let's keep that energy. I like that. Thank you. Thank you for the support. But I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into this because it's like a couple of things that I want to say and I want to talk about. So, Eric, tonight we're talking about the $15 minimum wage. So the House recently passed a bill for this federal $15 minimum wage. You had the socialist king, okay, Bernie Sanders, Mr. built his whole platform on let's pay people $15 an hour, was recently found to not be paying his own staff $15 an hour. Not only that, he's always sermonizing about people basically having like this, better quality of life because we're in America and nobody should have to work these 50, 60 hours just to feed their families. And I'm learning with these people, it's a lot of do as I say, not as I do. So that's what we are talking about tonight, Eric. But thank you, Elwer. Hey, Lockbird. All right, we got San Francisco in the building. We got North Carolina. Hey, egg beaters. We got DC in the house. All right, cool. So let's just go on and jump into this, y'all. So, like I said, the House, some of you may know by now, the House recently passed a bill. Hey, Helena. The House recently passed a bill to hike the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour. So let's take a look at this. Hey, Sinclair. Happy Tuesday, y'all. All right, Muggsy Diva, Long Island, New York. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's look at this. All right, so this is from CNBC, all right? So House passes bill to hike the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour. All right, so the House passed the bill Thursday to hike the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour in a win for liberal activists who have long pushed to give low-wage workers a raise. The Democratic-held chamber passed a plan in a 231 to 199 vote. 6 Democrats opposed it, while 3 Republicans supported it. The measure would gradually hike the U.S. pay floor to $15 by 2025, okay? So when I say 2025, we're literally talking about like 5.5 years, y'all. Then index further hikes to median wage growth. It would also phase out lower minimum wage paid to tipped workers. House Democrats view the legislation as a core piece of their agenda to boost pay and economic growth. As President Donald Trump runs for re-election in 2020, the party argues strong economic growth and a roaring stock market have not done enough to lift the workers who most need relief. I commend my colleagues for taking this important step towards creating an economy that works for everyone, said Representative Bobby Scott, a Virginia Democrat who introduced the legislation in a statement. Now, Senate Republicans must decide to either stand with American workers or turn their backs on hardworking people across the country. Congress last raised the federal minimum wage to $7.25 per hour, y'all, about a decade ago. Now, 29 states and Washington, D.C. have higher pay floors than the U.S., while 7 states have approved $15 per hour minimum wages. All right, so this goes on to talk about how Mitch McConnell has no plans to bring this to the floor. And Trump is basically saying he would veto it. And a Trump administration argued its policies are driving economic growth and increasing workers' take-home pay for more effectively. Wait, I didn't read something right. Okay, the Trump administration argued its policies are driving economic growth and increasing workers' take-home pay for far more effectively and efficiently than a Democratic plan. The White House contended it would eliminate jobs and reduce total wages for American workers. We finna talk about this, y'all, because it's sometimes you just got to think about stuff in a very, very common sense type of way. All right. And an analysis earlier this month, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimated the bill would give 17 million U.S. workers a raise and could lift wages for millions more. It will boost the annual income of 1.3 million people above the poverty level. At the same time, the measure would cause about 1.3 million Americans to lose jobs, okay? So I am going to link this below if y'all want to go back and read this for yourself. I think this is so funny that all of this is happening. Hey, Cajun. I think this is so funny that all of this is happening right around the same time that Bernie has been ousted for not paying his campaign staffers $15 an hour, when you literally created your whole platform on paying people $15 an hour. All right, so hey, Lavon, let's look at this, y'all, because just in case, you forgot what Bernie has been talking about over the years.
I think most people are aware that for the last 40 years, the middle class of our country has been in decline. And in Vermont and all over this country, we have people working 2 or 3 jobs. We have people working 50, 60, 70 hours a week just to put food on the table, just to make sure that they...
Now, we have people, he said, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week just to put food on the table. Y'all, his campaign staffers are working like 60 hours a week. I just want to add that fact, okay?
Their families can live a modicum of dignity. And the reason for all of that is that wages in the United States of America are just too low. And the time is long overdue for us to raise the minimum wage, which is now at the federal level $7.25 an hour, which I think under any definition is a starvation wage. We have got to raise the minimum wage to a living wage. And what we are here today to say is that living wage is $15 an hour.
So, Bernie, do you not want your staffers to live? Because your staffers are not making, according to you, you literally just said this, a living wage.
Now, I know it is a radical concept for our Republican friends.
And then look at this. This is hilarious, y'all. This is how fake these people are. It's like astounding to me. And the crazy part about it is these are the things I never would have paid attention to before, right? So this is what he just did. Hey, Tony, this is what he just did. Let's let him say it again.
Now, I know it is a radical concept for our Republican friends.
I know it's a radical concept for our Republican friends, and it's funny because he literally just pointed his finger, literally and figuratively, okay? You point your finger literally and figuratively while not even paying your staff $15. Like, the hypocrisy has no bounds. I mean, it's off the charts.
But we believe that in the United States of America, the wealthiest country in the history of the world, that if you work 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week, you should not be living in poverty. It must be a wage that people can live in dignity with. It is.
So y'all get the gist of it, okay? All right, so let's look at this from Newsweek. Bernie Sanders' campaign responds to $15 minimum wage controversy with better hours for staff. So I'm guessing better hours is like akin to shorter hours, lack of hours, cut hours. Okay. So amid a pay war with his own 2020 presidential campaign, Bernie Sanders will limit the amount of time his organizers can work to guarantee that no one is making less than $15 per hour, a wage the senator has demanded should be the federal minimum. On Thursday evening, the Washington Post reported that some members of Sanders' campaign have been lobbying to raise their wages. Field organizers say they make a salary of $36,000 annually, but work 60 hours per week, which is an average of $13 per hour. Unionized workers plan to send a letter to campaign manager Fayez Shakir, which read that many field staffers are barely managing to survive financially, which is severely impacting our team's productivity and morale. Some employees said some employees, they said, had even left the campaign as a result of low pay. We look forward to continuing these discussions, air quotes, discussions, and obviously are disappointed that some individuals decided to damage the integrity of these efforts before they were concluded. As these discussions continue, we are limiting hours. So no employees is receiving less than $15 for any hours worked. Don't you hate like when somebody tell you something, it's like, okay, since you ain't grateful, you know what? We'll help you make $15. We'll an hour. We'll cut your hours. We'll cut your hours so you can make $15 an hour. How about that? You making $15 now? Ooh. Yeah. If this is not a clear case of do what I say, not as I do. If this is not a clear case of Bernie, put your money where your mouth is. Have y'all heard that before? Put your money where your mouth is. Then I don't know what is. This is horrible PR. This is horrible. I actually think this should have been talked about way, way, way more because this is so hypocritical. He's like, I just don't get it. Hey, P-Lou. I just don't, I want to be shocked. But the more that I learn, what's a good word for it? I'm like, it's like a little funny, but it's also like very disgusting. Like I'm disgusted by this, right? Because these are the people that paint themselves as the heroes for the everyday working people. I live on these standards. I uphold these standards, and the rest of the world, right? He said, I know that's radical for the Republicans out there. I know that may be radical for you, but the way I'm painting myself, like, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I do this. Hey, y'all, right? I do this. I believe in this. These are my principles. This is what I stand on. And not only are your campaign staffers living a low quality of life because they're literally working 60 hours a week, and you speak against that. Not only that, you don't even pay them. Flabbergasted, thank you. That's a good word. Not only that, you don't pay them what you preach about. Am I the only one in a room like flabbergasted by this? And these are the people that you will have people coming to me telling me they're trustworthy. They have my best interest at heart. How can I trust that? It seems like just politicking to me. And the thing is, if I don't put these clips together, there are going to be people out there that will never even know. Like the links these people will go to lie and defraud us. Hey, Derek. It's shameful. Okay. Now let's talk about the whole $15 an hour thing, which the House is pushing this. You can see most of, if not all, the Democrats completely pushing this, all right? You will often hear that Democrats stifle wages. They are the cause of losing jobs and stuff like this. And I would never really understand why people would say such things, right? Like I just didn't get it. But now, a couple things. You literally have, oh, Sinclair, you are so right. Sinclair said mass hypnosis is real. Our people better get out that MK Ultra. Let me tell you something. This is something that I was talking about on Instagram earlier, and then I'm going to go back to my point. The media literally pulled the plug on Black Lives Matter. They completely pulled the plug, right? Now, the media is inundated with everything about illegal immigration. And most people don't even notice. Most people don't even notice. They don't even see what's happening before their own eyes. One group of others were used until some freaking producer, news producer, manager came along and was like, yeah, the Black Lives Matter thing. I mean, that's cool and all, but I'm a little bored with it now. What can we do next? What we got coming for season 2? That's literally how I picture that going. You know what? I'm over that. We done with that agenda now. What can we talk about now? Let's move on to somebody else. And people don't even notice, y'all. You couldn't go to the water cooler at work. You couldn't turn on a TV without people talking about Black Lives Matter. And it's like now it has disappeared into thin air. And you have all these zombies walking around. You have these puppets getting their strings pulled. You have these, you have these Energizer bunnies walking around about to get the pack, the battery pack put into their bag, and the media winds them up and say, okay, we're done with that. Be mad about this now. And everybody, oh, now we're mad about kids in cages while your kids have been sitting in cages all along. But the media just isn't talking about it. So yeah, Sinclair, his hypnosis is very, very real. It's real. Whatever the media is talking about, whatever is trending at the moment, it's like people zone out like zombies. And yes, people can care about more than one thing at a time. But don't tell me that as a group, all of these events are getting the same amount of energy. They are not. Black Lives Matter has virtually disappeared in the eyes of the media. I mean, in the national discussion that was going on. Not to say they don't still exist as an organization, but the media literally freaking pulled a plug on them and said, anyway. So this is why people have to decide what's important to you. What do you stand on? What do you care about? Or are you just blowing with the wind? Is the media just pulling your strings like a little puppet? Levon said the media is that shiny object that Black folks follow blindly. I mean, it's true. It's true. And every week, people are finding something new to be mad about. The other week, when people were mad because Jermaine Dupri came out and said that most of the female rappers right now are basically talking about prostitution and stripping, people were mad. I'm like, y'all mad at that? Have y'all heard the radio lately? Hey, Akeem. I'm like, have y'all listened to the radio lately? Find something else to be mad about. But anyway, so let me go back to this, the $15 an hour. This makes no sense, y'all. Let me tell you this. You have one candidate, Andrew Yang, talking about how bad automation is going to get? AI, right? Everybody's scared of the big bad automation. And I think it is something to think about and look towards and try to find solutions to, right? But everybody is so scared of automation. The machines are coming. The robots are coming. The robots are coming. How can you have him building his whole platform off of automation? Automation is one of the number one ways for companies to cut wages, cut the amount of employees they have to hire. It's safer because you don't have to have as many employees on site. It's probably more accurate. You don't have to work with, you don't have to worry about like the demotivation and things like this. The machine is just going to be the machine. You might have to send somebody in to calibrate it every now and again. But if everybody is so scared of automation and machines are coming to take jobs, how in that same campaign cycle do you have people promoting $15 an hour, which could in turn literally make these companies turn more so and more quickly to automation? What quicker way? They're already feeling like, a lot of these companies are already feeling like they're going to save money, right? Because you don't have to do workers' comp for a machine. You don't have to do healthcare benefits for a machine. The same campaign cycle where everybody is scared of automation, you are literally basically incentivizing people, or I don't want to say incentivizing, but you're definitely giving them the option to move further to automation. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Not only that, right? $15 minimum wage. Okay? $15 minimum wage. You have to look at the cost of living. We're talking about a federal minimum wage. Thank you, Evroy. Said it will expedite automation. Thank you. How, like, people don't get that? That's just common sense. If you're already fearful of automation, why would you turn around and basically help even more so benefit people that were already thinking about automation? You see the automation with the Walmart self-checkouts. Hey, Shalom L. You even see it in McDonald's now. One of my friends recently went to this pizza restaurant where the robots were serving the pizza. Not only that, you had a cost of living. So you're really telling me that you are going to pay people $15, a federal minimum wage, $15 in New York, the same $15 that's going to go not as far as the $15 in Mississippi? Hey, Black introvert. You telling me that you're going to pay people in New York $15 where you have 3 people in a freaking, who was that from New York? Was that Muxie Diva? You have 3 people to these rooms in New York, thousands of dollars. And you can come rent a house in Mississippi for $600, $700, $800, 3 bedrooms. Thank you, open mind conservative. Helena J said 10,000 a month for a 1 bedroom. How much is it really? Y'all, New York and California are some of the most expensive places to live. $15 an hour in Mississippi is a pretty decent life. $15 in New York? $15 in California? Not so much. $15, you can buy a home in Mississippi. You can get a pretty decent sized home. New York? No. New York City? No. Helena J said 5,000 to 10,000 for apartments, depending on the area. But Atlanta, Texas, I'm saying Atlanta. I'm saying cities and states. Atlanta, Texas, Nashville. Y'all get my point. But Tennessee, Georgia, these southern states, your $15 is going to go way farther. Young Peasy said $15 in New York, you're almost homeless. Cajun said, let's be honest, $15 in Mississippi is balling. Let me tell you, $15 an hour in Mississippi, you're doing pretty good. So do people think about that? And then you have Bernie Sanders, do as I say, not as I do. You are taking advantage of capitalism while selling us socialism. How does that work? I mean, these people, they have no remorse. They have no like I'm trying to imagine me getting on a stage every day promoting something, talking about something, and not doing it myself as a first step. Derek said, when I lived in Houston, I paid $550 a month for a 1 bedroom. Now I pay $1,100 a month for a studio. Are you still in Houston? Muxie Diva is laughing, okay? Hysterically laughing at the thought of $15 an hour in New York. That's how funny that is. All right, not only this, Mugsy Diva said 5,000 gets you a shoebox in New York City. Literally, I've had a couple friends that moved to New York and they would be like renting people's basements for what they could have got a home for here. And albeit they did to follow their dreams, and all of them are doing amazing now. But when they say concrete jungle, I mean, I guess it's the truth. And so Levon said $15 here in Fort Polk area will buy you a house. And Yo Right said, I paid $3,000 a month in Harlem in 2001. That is crazy. All right, so we already got automation, right? That is not being thought about, or either if they're thinking about it, somebody's lying. Are y'all scared of automation? Is automation a threat or is it not? So we got automation, okay? That's number one. Number two, people have not thought about the cost of living. Number three, how in the world, somebody tell me now, make it make sense. We a common sense channel over here, and I know y'all gonna help me out. How in the world are you going to move the federal minimum wage up to $15 and you haven't fixed your illegal immigration problem? How, Sway? Please tell me how. What's coming? You would have never seen so many people working under the table, people being paid under the table, and then, hey, Mel, and then you're going to be doing this job for $15 an hour. They're going to cut your hours, and a person down the road is going to cut you out for $7.25. I feel like people really don't understand. A lot of people really don't understand how illegal immigration hurts wages, how it stifles wages. So let me try to explain this even a little bit. First of all, and I talked about this last week, there's this common lie, this common theme going around that illegal immigrants go out here and pick strawberries and they're only working the jobs that y'all don't want to work. All right? That's the lie. I proved that on this channel again and again. One of the examples was a tech company that was recently raided. I think this was a couple of months ago, probably back in like March or something. A tech company that was raided, okay, had hundreds, I believe, of illegal immigrants working there. Once those immigrants are moved out, you can have American citizens coming in to work those jobs. I also showed y'all, this was maybe like a couple of years ago. It was like some small town that it was like some type of plant or manufacturing company that had hundreds of illegal immigrants working there. Once they moved those illegal immigrants that were there, once they moved them out, 90% of the people hired were Black people from that town, from that area, American-born citizens. I've showed y'all this story on my channel as well, okay? So that's the first lie, that they're only doing these low-skill jobs, okay? Not only that, right? So you're going to have some of these Black people that have these lower skills that are able to come in and do these jobs. Not only that, if you have two companies, right? If you have two companies, and let's say you have three tire companies, right? And you have three tire companies in this one town, and two of the companies are hiring American citizens, and they're paying $10 an hour. And down the road, you have a tire company that's hiring illegal immigrants, and they're paying them $8 an hour. Why would this tire company feel any need to raise your American citizen $10 when it's no competition? They don't have to compete. The person down the road is paying $8. Nothing is incentivizing them to move your pay up. Nothing. Why would they? They know you're not about to go down the road and make the $8 that the illegal immigrants are making. So they know you're going to stay there and shut up about that $10 that you're making. But what happens is if you move those illegal immigrants out, right? And let's say that tire company that was down the road paying the illegal immigrants $8, you move all those illegal immigrants out. Now, if the people in that town didn't originally want those jobs and they saying, we don't want to do that, we don't want to do that work, and you say, well, what about if we pay y'all $9 an hour? We don't want to do that. I don't want to work in no tire company. 10, I don't want to work in no tire. 12, 13, okay, $15. Because now they have to compete. So this whole Black people don't want those jobs, Americans don't want those jobs, start paying strawberry pickers $20 an hour, see how many be out there. But when you're paying people under the table, you can pay them low. Their working conditions are subpar and oftentimes very horrible because who they're going to report it to? So they are even exploiting illegal immigrants. How do people, if you say you're for humanity and you care about people, how do you excuse people giving illegal immigrants subpar working conditions? Some of them work in very, very horrible working conditions. So now that tire company is not able to go say, hey, we're going to pay you under the table $8 to come work for us. Since they can't do that anymore, now they have to compete with these other tire companies. Now they have to raise their prices. Now they have to give you longer vacations. Now they have to give you benefits. Now they have to make their working conditions better. The onus should be on them, not us. We should be the ones doing the choosing. I should be able to say, that's not enough for me. Unless you can make me want to come work for you, unless you can incentivize me, unless you can tell me something good, give me some good health care, give me some more days off. That's how it should be. But people don't have to compete when you're hiring all these people under the table. And what people don't understand about that, I just don't get. So two things. Not only is they're only doing the jobs that nobody wants, not only is that number one, that's a lie, but even in the event that it was true, if nobody wants those jobs, those employers should have to compete to make people want those jobs. If you can't be competitive with the strawberry farm down the road, with the tire company down the road, you need to close out a business. If your standards for your company cannot be safe, cannot make people feel welcome, if you're not keeping something to make people want to work there, you need to close your doors. So people say they're against these industries and these employers that take advantage of people, but you're contradicting yourself. You're not making sense because you completely allow them to not only exploit the illegal immigrant workers by paying them under the table, but they're also exploiting the American worker because now you're stifling everybody's wages around you. All right. So we got machines and automation, cost of living, and illegal immigration. And let me tell y'all this. Another thing that people don't think about is how you will completely knock out and hurt the middle class. Thank you, Roland. You will completely hurt and knock out the middle class. Completely. You have lower income people with lower skills whose income are going to go up. Do y'all really think that everybody else's income is going to go up too? You really think that? Somehow we don't trust these employers, we don't trust these corporations, but we trust that everybody that was in the middle of making a $15 an hour is gonna what? Go up 50 cents. Yeah, I used to work at McDonald's when I was like 16 years old. That was my first job. First job. I did the cash register. I did fries. I did the drive-through. I did all that. I made about $7.25. I think I made about $7.25. I think when I left, I was making probably like $7.50. I worked there for maybe like a little over a year. Yes, I was Fry Girl, Fry Girl Rhonda. From Fry Girl to Fly Girl. No, I'm just playing. But look, worked at McDonald's, my first job. Y'all, I would never forget that I saw one of my friends, no shade to him, but I saw one of my friends out there protesting. This was years later. This was like a couple years ago. Saw him out there, I guess when the national conversation first started happening for the $15 an hour. He was out there protesting at a McDonald's. Out there protesting with the sign, $15 an hour. I think he ended up getting arrested for something, disturbing the peace or something. Very down for the people, you know. And that's not a bad thing. But the thing is, it has to make sense, okay? Even at that time, when I saw him doing this, even before I fully understood, and I don't even want to say fully because I'm still learning, but even before I better understood the implications of all this federal minimum wage talk, even at that time, I still thought it was a really silly idea. Let me tell you why. I am literally a walking example. And see, sometimes you just have to think about how stuff affects you, how it impacts you, what your life and your reality has looked like. I think a lot of times we virtue signal and we allow the media to tell us, you know, what our struggle is, how we should feel about something. We try to take on others people's experiences as our own. So I had to think about this a little bit. Y'all, I started working at McDonald's. I think I was making like $7.50 an hour, something like that, but literally somewhere in like the $7 range. Now I look back and that sounds so crazy to me, $7 an hour, but I was like 16 years old. I was 16, my first job. Y'all, I can literally look over my career and see all the skills I had to gain. See all the skills I had to gain, the way I had to diversify my portfolio, diversify my resume, how much I've learned over time, how much I've enhanced my computer skills, learning Photoshop, learning computer, different programs and technology, learning medical technology and programs and all kind of stuff. I've done stuff with volunteer work and volunteer programs and nonprofit and I've done all kind of stuff. And as I gain more skills over time, with gained skills, with more skills, the more you learn, the more you can, the more you can negotiate. The more you deserve, the more you earn. It's no way somebody can pay me $7.50 now. No freaking way. And so you're going to turn around and tell me that a 16-year-old Rhonda that was flipping freaking fries Fry Girl Rhonda, you're going to sit there and look me in my eyes and tell me Fry Girl Rhonda from years ago deserves to make the same amount of money from Rhonda today? I'm insulted. I'm insulted. I'm living this experience. Nobody can tell me about that. I'm insulted. To think that you could learn to flip fries in probably a week training. Not even a week, but I'm talking about the training that they go through at McDonald's. A week, maybe 2. And to turn around and you want to look me in my eyes and tell me with all the books I've read, the things I've studied, hours of watching stuff on YouTube, everything that I had to learn on my own, including all the trainings that I've done on different jobs, diversifying my resume. And you're going to look me in my eyes and tell me Fry Girl Rhonda deserved that type of pay. Will Moore said you're more valuable because you can do more than when you were younger. And that's what don't people get about that? And so the great thing about this system is that we can negotiate. If you don't like your job, you can leave. You can ask for more money. People can pay you for your skills. You can learn skills and different things to do on your own now with things like YouTube. You can make money for yourself where people can't even put a cap on you. Hey, Soul Alchemy. Learning little things here and there. It increases your value to any employer. And you can walk in there and say, yeah, that sounds good, but did you know I could do this too? I can do that. Hey, Leonard. Yeah, right is telling me he's having problems with super chat. And I don't know what's going on. But if anybody else is having that problem, please let me know. And I'll also check on it too. And if Cajun is still here, he's dropping my PayPal link and Cash App as well. Yeah, right. But thank you. I need to check on that. But yes, so Alchemy, this is a federal minimum wage. So far I've talked about the reasons that it doesn't make sense. Just common sense, y'all. Machines and automation. How you gonna do that if you fearful about automation? Cost of living being different. Thank you, Sinclair. Glenn said because $10 is not minimum wage, send $15. Yo, right? Send me $15 for this hour. I'm on here talking. Okay. That's what I need. $15. I'm just kidding. But cost of living, okay? Illegal immigration and skill set and workers' value. All right. The fifth thing, and I want to make sure I talk about this, okay? This is another thing from my personal experience. This is another thing from my personal experience. And you're right. I don't know why you can't do less than $10, but SendClip can. But thank you anyway, SendClip. Okay, so Alchemy, I'm gonna come back to that because you missed a good part of it, but I am gonna wrap it up. Okay. All right. Last thing is, and I need to remember to come back to these points, okay? What so Alchemy said, and Eliza said, minimum wage should depend on the state. California should pay at least $15. I was making $15 at age 16. So let me tell you this. Dang, I just lost my thought. Anyway, so yeah, that's why I also talked about cost of living, right? Cost of living is state to state. It depends on where you are. $15 in California is not going to get you nearly as far as the $15 in Mississippi. So like I was saying earlier, Eliza, I don't know if you were here, but in Mississippi, you can pretty much get a 3-bedroom home for $15 an hour. You can rent a nice home. I don't know what you were able to do in California at 16 for $15. Okay. So I mentioned that as well. But this is another thing. And we are talking about federal minimum wage. So this would be $15 across the board. We're talking federal. All right. And like Eliza said, I do agree. This should be a state by state issue, first of all. All right. So not only that, when people think about this $15 argument, I want to know, do people only think about people like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg? Do y'all also not think about the mom and pop stores, the neighborhood stores, the small business owners, and how this would affect them and literally knock them out? Do people even give thought to that? Like, even a little bit? There were some statistics that came out a couple years ago talking about how Black women were really taking off and owning some small businesses. Hey, JJ, do y'all ever think about those people? Or do y'all only think about, because y'all have so much animosity towards people like Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and all these other people, do you ever think about how it will affect small business owners? I worked for 3 small businesses. 3. All Black owned, all small staffs. Okay. This one particular business that I worked for, I worked with a medical staff, a Black woman, 40 years old, around, we had maybe 8 to 10 employees, mostly Black women. She was able to hire people directly from the community. She was able to hire people that reflected the customers. Able to pay them, give them jobs, making decent money in Mississippi. Very inspirational. But now you have this Black woman hiring people It looks like her giving opportunities to people, probably still paying back student loans, probably one of the first in her family from the first generation to move beyond the poverty level or to a certain point, competing with all these corporate spaces and these big companies already struggling to compete for customers under a smaller name, a smaller branch, and you're gonna turn around and tell her that she has to pay every single one of her staff members $15 an hour. So she has to pay the same person in the lab $15 as a person answering the phone saying, "Thanks for calling. How can I help you today?" Do y'all think about these people when we talk about such decisions? Do you think about how hours this would immediately force her to cut hours, if not close her doors altogether? Do people not think about this? Now, you have all your mom and pop stores that can already barely compete. But now you're going to try to make them pay the same $15 an hour as the Walmart down the street. The chicken shack that I go to, you want them to pay all of their employees $15 as the McDonald's down the street. This is what people say this is what people mean when they say stifling jobs, stifling opportunities. You are like, I don't know no other way to make people understand. With those type of moves, my opportunities to work for the businesses that I much prefer to work for, I can work right under the CEO. I can reach out and touch her, talk to her. We can build a relationship from the same community. Such an inspiration. Understand some of the same struggles. I wouldn't have those type of opportunities if you have the federal government literally trying to push these people out. But y'all don't think about them. We don't think about them. Mark Zuckerberg and Bernie Sanders much more likely have the $15 to pay employees. But how are you going to do that? How is that fair? And the good thing is, somebody said, I said I was going to come back to it. I think it was Soul Alchemy said, what did she say? Why shouldn't we raise the minimum wage? It's because when you do that and you do it as mandatory, you take away choices from people like me. Now I don't have the choice to work for that same small staff because she's either going to have to cut hours or close her doors altogether. Now I have to go down the street and work for some large corporation that's probably might still going to cut my hours, or I might have to work harder because they're going to make their staff smaller. So that's why you don't do a federal minimum wage. You take choices away from people like me, People like the people around me, inspiring me, that I've seen go on to do great things, man. I've seen some young people that are up and coming doing some great things, and they're able to put people in their community on. They're giving them jobs. They're helping them. They're supporting them. How are they going to do that if they are forced to pay more than they are able to? And we're talking about first, second generation of people really getting out of poverty, really graduating from college, getting degrees, doing these first. Some of these people are the first people in their family to own businesses. Which communities do y'all think this is going to hurt the most? I'm a huge proponent of eating local and shopping local. My gym is local. I eat local places in my neighborhood, around my neighborhood. The place I go to get like my oil change and tires and all this stuff, local. The people at these places look like me, talk like me, their kids went to school with me. I can directly reach out to them if I have a concern or a problem. Their taxes directly go back to this community. But when you do this, you take away choice from these people. You take away their ability to help other people and put people on. Y'all can't have so much animosity. And this is what the media constantly does, man. They constantly have us looking elsewhere. They constantly have us virtue signaling till we don't even look and say, dang, you know what? Let me look over my resume. Let me look over my history and see how that would have affected me. Let me see how I feel about Fry Girl Rhonda. Fry Girl Rhonda. Me going up in McDonald's making $15 for flipping fries and being on the speaker telling me some, go ahead with your order. I'm just playing, y'all. But think about how demotivating that would be. I would not be the person today that I am. I would not have the skills that I had today had I not had to basically level up because I wanted to make more money. And I'm still going. I still got a lot of stuff to learn. I still need to make more. It ain't over. Seeing clips that it's racism. It's definitely anti-minority owned small businesses. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. It will directly impact 3 of the businesses I worked for. People that are doing great things, particularly the young lady that I talked about, hiring several people in the community. And oftentimes when you work for these small businesses, and because you're so close to the employers, you see them often, the working conditions are oftentimes better. They care about you more. They give you good holidays. They give you bonuses. They take you on getaways. I don't take that for granted at all. I don't want to have to go down the street and work for some huge corporation where I never see the freaking CEO and they don't care about me. Don't take our choices away. This will completely stifle and hurt small business owners and also the low-skilled workers. Middle-class workers, blue-collar workers. You're going to have people in manufactories and plants doing all that hard work, standing up for hours. You're going to have them making the same amount of money as people saying, can I take your order? Seriously? Many Black people in particular, have moved up to middle class based on those jobs. Those manufacturing jobs, plant jobs, blue collar jobs. Hell, I'll even be mad if I'm riding on the back of the garbage truck and I'm making the same amount of money as somebody saying, can I take your order? Because y'all know even they get paid pretty decently. People out here pouring cements on the streets and infrastructure, construction workers. These are skills. These people have to learn this stuff, study this stuff, do weeks, months of training, hard work. Yes, it's a slap in the face, Edward. And as somebody who has seen both sides of it, right? I worked my way up from Fly Girl Rhonda to Fly Girl Rhonda. But as somebody has literally seen both sides of it, worked my way up from McDonald's, from being a fry girl, from saying, can I take your order? I had to diversify my skills. I had to level up. I had to add other things to my resume. I had to learn new things. I can see it from that angle. And I wouldn't, knowing my little cousin could come out, y'all, I was making $750. And at $1,600, I thought I was doing something. I was buying all kind of shoes and outfits. Ooh, you feel like you can tell your parents something then. I make my money. I can buy it. There's no way I could see my little cousin $15 doing the same job I was doing then for $750. No. And then, like I said, the other side of it. Me personally, this is not me. I can't even think of what I was about to say. This is not me virtue signaling to y'all. These are all personal, true stories. Me working for 3 small businesses, 3 small Black-owned businesses, as a matter of fact, and knowing that they would not be able to pay all of their staff $15 an hour, knowing how hours would have been cut, knowing how the one person, the young lady that I told y'all about, this medical staff, knowing how she was already having to compete with these corporate places down the road that have all these resources that are bigger, able to offer the biggest and best technology, able to offer the best products, and knowing to see that firsthand, because it's something different, man. And man, I'm telling y'all, you want to really understand some stuff. You want to really understand how the world works and really want to look at stuff from a different perspective. Work for a nonprofit or a small-owned business where you can reach out and touch the boss, and to see the things they go through and they deal with, especially when you have this is not no small business. I'm just working for myself. I'm employing 8, 10 other people. When you can kind of see that firsthand, it just changes your perspective on a lot of stuff. And this is why I get disappointed and I get upset when in these national conversations, we don't talk about people like this. We don't look at people like this, because I know firsthand how it would cut out a lot of people that I know that are doing well. They can be motivation and give a lot of these little kids in the city something to look up to. I've told y'all, I've talked about it on this channel. Two girls in particular that that I follow on Instagram, that what they've done in terms of work has been very inspirational. One of the girls is Jay Nice, and she's like a fashion designer. And the other girl is, what's her name? Super Scent. Both of them have talked about their stories on Instagram. All right. One of them, I think it was Jay Nice, was raised by her grandmother on welfare, on food stamps. The other girl, Super Scent, was working in some restaurant on Bourbon Street, right? Now you're talking about women that are making good money, employing people from their communities, people that look like them, able to get them jobs, get them opportunities. They're creating products. They're adding value to the world. And you're going to turn around and try to cut them out or change how they're able to impact the world. Super Scent in particular, I don't know if y'all ever heard of her, but this girl does so much, man. She does so much for the community. She constantly gives back. She constantly helps New Orleans. She talks about how she helps her family. That is an inspiration. Why would you? These are people that are, like I said, some of the first people in their families to move out of poverty. Y'all don't even think about how you affecting them. You don't even think about how you're hurting them, how you will hurt them, how it would take money out of their pockets, and the things that they're able to produce and do for their communities, do for their employees, the bonuses and things that they get their employees. Jonathan said these people don't understand economics. It's just, it's, I guess because now when I think about these experiences that I've had firsthand, these people are getting overlooked and they're going to get pushed out. It's going to affect them the worst. It's going to affect them way worse than it will affect Mark Zuckerberg. And why not use these people as inspiration? Like I'm completely for that. I love a good success story. I have one friend in particular, who's from Mississippi. This guy is such an inspiration. Okay. Went from literally being homeless to now living in Dallas, very nice, big home, and also a company able to employ several people now. But people don't think about this. They don't think about these things. They don't think about these people. We have to stop virtue signaling. We have to stop thinking emotionally, and we have to think about the things around us and how they would affect us. You got supply and demand, cost of living. You literally, if you don't like what somebody is paying, you can negotiate or you can move on. You're not required to work there. You're not required to stay at McDonald's. People used to laugh at me and talk about me because they like, girl, you don't stay at no job. Why would I? Why would I when I can make more money? When I can have better working conditions? When I can do something that I like better? When I can move on? Why in the world would I stay at McDonald's making $7.50? And so a lot of times, one thing that I've seen Yo Right say in his live several times, and then I'm gonna wrap it up, y'all. But one thing I've seen Yo Right say, and I don't know if he's still in here, but he basically says, in a socialist society, what is the responsibility of the people? And I had to think about that, right? I had to think about that. I had to think about the fact that because of this society and how things are set up, I literally had to level up, add value to myself so I could do better, so I could make more. And so when you take that away from people and you say, okay, cool, you know what, we're just gonna, just give everybody $15. We'll give you $15 for flipping fries. You know what? Not only is that demotivating, and it doesn't incentivize people to add value to themselves, to diversify their resume and their portfolio, it literally takes the burden from them. And so Alchemy said no one should be getting $7.50 though. So Alchemy, I will say this, it's debatable. That's debatable. You literally have to look at what state you're in. You have to look at the job that's being done. Shoot, I thought I was balling back at 16, making $7.50. I thought I was doing something. I wasn't really doing anything but flipping fries, saying, "Can I take your order?" All I wanted was a new pair of shoes every now and again. Go get my hair done, get my nails done, buy the food I wanted because I got tired of my mom saying, "Yeah, you got food at the house." Mama, stop over here now. I got it. I'm buying it. Mom, can you stop at Chick-fil-A? We got food. I got it. Pull out my little wallet. Thought I was doing something. But it's debatable, so Alchemy. So that's why I would say that, first of all, it doesn't need to be a federal minimum wage, right? Because I just told you my story about how in Mississippi, $15, you doing pretty, you doing good. You're doing pretty decent. And so if that woman that I worked for was demanded to pay this federal minimum wage, it's going to impact her way differently than it would a freaking Mark Zuckerberg in New York City. Also, the great thing about $7.50, and like I said from my own experience, you couldn't pay me to go somewhere and make $7.50 now. Why? Because I had to level up. I had to increase my value so I could make more. And the good thing about it is America, we have choices. I didn't have to stay there. Nobody forced me. Nobody put a gun to my head. So I think this is debatable. I think it's a state-to-state issue. I don't think there is a one number. There is no one size fits all for this issue. And what's going to happen is if the Democrats try to make this is what I'm telling you. If the Democrats try to make this a one size fits all issue, when in fact it should be a state issue, it should be a resume issue, it should be a value issue, skills issue. a freedom of choice issue, because if you don't want to make that $750, you can move on to a different job. What's going to happen is it's going to knock out a lot of people, including small business owners, including Black and minority small business owners, including it's going to hurt most the middle class and blue collar workers. So that's all I have to say for tonight. I've been wanting to do this video for a while and talk about how when people think about this $15 per hour thing, I think they think about it from a very emotional standpoint. It sounds good, right? But when you start to look at all the different angles, it's not that simple. It's not a one size fit all. In no way am I arguing for people's wages to be stagnant or for the minimum wage to not be increased, but I definitely 100% do not feel like this should be a federal issue. It should not be some type of federal mandate. And then I didn't even go into and mention how if you increase the minimum wage, everything else increases. I didn't even go into that. So that adds a whole different angle. But anyway, before I jump off, to recap, okay? It's no way to make a one size fits all minimum wage for, and thank you, Kevin Bowens. He just cashed out me $20. Thank you so much. But to recap real quick, and then I'm going to hop off, y'all. And thank y'all for the super chats. I don't know where your right went with my $15 for this hour. But anyway, all right, real quick. So how are you going to talk about $15 minimum wage as a one size fits all, as an end all be all, when you have really Cajun said good night, fry girl. Look, all right. How are you going to talk about $15 federal minimum wage, one size fits all, when you literally are also complaining about machines of automation? You scared of machines of automation, not considering the cost of living. I particularly said $15 will not even close. I mean, not even nearly go as far in New York as it would in Mississippi. You have not fixed your illegal immigration problem, okay? You are not putting any responsibility on the actual employee to diversify their skills, increase their value. And number 5, you are going to knock out all of these small business owners. You're going to completely affect them to their detriment, because they'll either have to cut hours, if not close their doors altogether. So those are my 5 reasons. And I will say again, because oftentimes people like to put words in your mouth. I'm not sitting here advocating for adult people to be paid $7.50. I'm not sitting here saying that minimum wage should not be increased on a state to state basis. But I think it's a lot of things to take into account. I think right now it's a lot of virtue signaling going on, like we particularly saw with Bernie, right? Because you created your whole platform on paying people $15 an hour, yet not only are you overworking your staff 60 freaking hours per week. I've never worked that much in my life. Well, maybe back when I was like working 2 jobs. I don't even think I still was working 60 hours per week. But anyway, you created a whole platform, virtue signaling, created a whole platform saying that 60 hours a week is too much, too many hours, not paying your own staff $15 a month, $15 an hour. it's just way too much virtue signaling. People making it too cut and dry, too black and white, when really cost of living and all of that, everything, the 5 things I just named are going to significantly impact that $15 an hour. So, and then the crazy part about it is another thing, and I'm glad Sin Clip mentioned this as well. The same people who are talking about $15 an hour, right, are also wanting to tax larger companies. I think is it over 100,000 a year? No, it has to be more than that. I can't remember the amount, but want to tax them more. That's another thing that's going to significantly impact middle class and small business owners. So, Sinclair says yes, $100,000. So they want to tax you more for making $100,000. So think about the was it 100,000? That seemed kind of low. And I'm thinking about it. But anyway, so if you're making if this company is making 100,000, you're gonna have to pay people more and be taxed more. Yeah, it just don't make it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And the whole country is gonna end up looking like Detroit. I mean, you're literally going to stifle business. You're going to hurt middle income people the worst. But anyway, so those are my thoughts for tonight. So Acme said this is all too much. It is too much. And let me say this, it is too much. And this is why it's important that not only do we think about stuff from a common sense perspective, but we also require these politicians to do the very same. We can't just run with things that sound good, because honestly, if this was me, like back when I was 16, I'd be like, hell yeah, I want to make $15 an hour. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't I? You know, that just makes sense if somebody's selling me that. But now that I have more life experience, I've gone through things, I've worked hands-on with these small companies and see like the things they're up against and already struggle with trying to even compete with these large corporations, and seeing like all the things I had to learn to move away from that 750, you know what I mean? And understanding now more like how the economy works, and it's not a bubble. All of these things affect other things. And so all of this has to be taken into account. And that's why it's very important that we require these politicians to make sense. They have to make sense. That has to happen. Because if not, you're going to see a lot of people impacted negatively. But anyway, y'all, I can't believe I talked about this for so long. I must have had a little bit to say. But all right, y'all. So that's all I have to say for tonight. So hopefully, if you've been one of these pro $15 an hour people, hopefully this, you know, gives you a new perspective, gives you a new way to look at things, and kind of just try to challenge how you were looking at it before. I mean, even if it doesn't change your mind, I think it should add some type of context to the way we've been having these discussions, because people just, oh, $15 an hour, you deserve it, you deserve a living wage. And it's deeper than that. It's much deeper than it. Sinclip S said all sole proprietors make over 100,000. Thank you, Sinclip. But and so Alchemy said you always should research before voting. Everything is business. Absolutely. And so people understand it and have that mindset, you're gonna really just be out here lost in the sauce. Because even with Bernie, right? Bernie, you selling us these dreams of, you know, it's the millionaires holding y'all back. It's the Republicans holding y'all back. You pointing your fingers, but yet you have $3 million homes and you don't even pay your staff what you're preaching. So supposedly now, after it's come out and people know the truth and his staff is turning on him, now he's talking to his people about, okay, I might go ahead and pay y'all $15. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, all right, y'all. So y'all have a good night. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. I definitely been wanting to talk about this for a while. Thank y'all for everybody that super chatted. Make sure you give me a thumbs up so this video will hopefully get out to more people. And I will see y'all soon. Bye.